Hey Shayan, good to see you.
How's it going, man? Good to see you too. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Shayan. How are you today?
Yeah, good, good. It's been a normal, monotonous day, but it's about to get better. So here we are.
Fantastic. Fantastic, Shayan. So, Shayan, your second full-length album, Elo Burns Out, is to be out on September 29th. So, would you like to tell me a bit about the songwriting and production that goes behind this new upcoming album?
Yes, of course. Well, actually, first of all, the songs they have quite a bit of an age on them for this particular album. I mean, pretty much when we released our first full-length album, Sin, which was back in November 2016, 13th of November 2016. Pretty much within 10 days of that, I had already started writing quite a bit of material for the upcoming album, Iloa Burns Out. So, sort of, it's been a very long and drawn out process, and the songwriting itself happened to coincide a lot with the period of transformation, not just within the band, but also within all of our personal lives, myself particularly. So there's that very potent imprint that you can hear on all of the songs, and I think pretty much every person who's heard this album so far always says to us that how much um, prevalent and obvious the growth is that the band has been through, and I have to agree to that. I think that it's been a very, very special and very transformative period of just digging deep and trying to find and sharpen our tools as best as we could when it came to our creative expression. I don't know if you want me to give you details of that or not, but that's the general perspective of Eloa Burns Out when I look back at the creative process.
Fantastic, fantastic. And does this album focus on any particular concept behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this sort of unintentionally ended up being a bit of a concept album. And it wasn't really hard for us to put the pieces together. The album obviously it captures the essence and the concept of death, but it does so from multiple different accounts. Like, for example, Azrael is the angel of death, so the song is basically an exaltation of that. And I also know that Azrael in particular could also be looked at as an extension of God, but also the record then focuses on the actual death of God by the time you get to the end of it. So from start to finish, it has very much this Ouroboros aspect to it, and the idea of exploring death from all these different dimensions, and its core essence and what it truly means. And so the final song actually does have the very last line of the album is sang in Farsi, my native tongue, and it's actually a choir section for people who haven't heard it yet, and that choir section says "Injust ejdahai ke dom khod ra mibalad," which translates to "Here is the dragon devouring its own tail," once again exploring the concept of Ouroboros, but also the song depicts basically the sun burning out, and that there's a sun in our solar system and taking out all life with it. And yeah, that's really what it is. It's death in its purest format, and hence the title Eloa Burns Out. It's like a parallel between the more scientific, the third dimensional aspect of, oh, the sun blows out, so all the planets get destroyed. But then there's also the idea that God in itself burns out.
Fantastic, fantastic. And also, the album has an amazing cover art behind it. So, would you like to talk a bit about the cover art and making of this art in particular?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very proud of the cover art for this one. It's this is again, the project goes back a little while, so we've had this cover since I'm gonna say around May or June 2019, and so it's been hard sitting on this thing and knowing the way it looks, and it's been, I guess for us, it's been like a little bit of it's been a long time coming, but yeah, this was a collaborative project with an artist, Waguna Wiryawan from Indonesia, WG, and he does dotted work, and I was fascinated with his style, and I did a very extensive research for who I wanted to have do our album cover. Because the thing was, with the album cover for Sin, for our first album, it's probably the most unusual, well, one of the most unusual cover arts I think out there, just because of the usage of the colors and the concept. And there is a deep concept behind that one as well. But just for this album, I wanted to sort of up our expression as best as we could, you know, and get the best standard of things possible, you know, that really represents not just our own creative expression, but also what we're capable of, you know. So it's kind of like you can have an idea of what you're capable of in your head, but then other people don't know that. Other people will simply see what you put in front of them. So with this album, I basically kind of wanted to show off our skills, you know, other than obviously, you know, more importantly, express ourselves artistically in this way. But yeah, this was a very interesting project. I love the guy's style, you know, and it's all dotted work. Like what you see on that cover, it's all very carefully done on a piece of paper, you know, and is very professionally designed. And it was an idea that basically we went through like a couple of different iterations of the cover until both myself and the artist were happy with it, and then eventually this is what he ended up with. But like I said, what you see on that cover art, that's all pretty much hand drawn, which is, I think, fairly impressive, I would say.
Fantastic. And talking about the album, 8 amazing songs, beautifully done. The energy, the power, the black and dirty thing put together came out really amazing. So it's like a journey listening from Israel to the last track of the, it's beautifully done. And thank you guys so much for making this awesome work this year. I really enjoyed each and everything from this album. So thanks again. And as a creator, how do you guys feel about the outcome of this album?
Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. I very much appreciate it. Glad to hear that it's been received so well. And as far as the creative process, you know, like that's a good question, because I feel the same way about pretty much every part of this album, whether it's with the music itself, or whether it's with the music video that we did for Azrael. We may or may not have another one on the way. And you know, like just the photography sessions that we did with the renowned Esther Segara, who is a good friend of the band and an extremely talented photographer. And you know, whether it was that or the artwork, pretty much all different aspects of this album, because there's a lot that goes into the creation of a record, obviously. You know, yeah, like you might, in the end, it might only be 40 or 50 minutes of material that you just stick on and listen to, but there's a lot of different dimensions to this, because it's an experience. It's an alternative world that you step into. So for me personally, and I could actually speak for the whole band, we have been satisfied with every single aspect of this that I just mentioned. And to us, really, that's the true definition of success, is being able to successfully express yourself. Know that, you know, I mean, like I said, you know, we've been working on this for a long time, but now 4 or 5 years later, I can still stand by this thing and feel proud of it. You know, like it's only just coming out now. A lot of times, I think if this happened with other bands, they would probably get tired of it. They would probably think, oh, that record only represents us back then. Now we're just ready to release this other record. It's not the case for Trivax. Obviously, we are eager to then move past this and then carry on to do our other explorations artistically. But it's very important to say that even though we recorded most of this in 2019, obviously there's been a big delay for us, I can still stand by this record and say that this perfectly represents exactly where we are now. And in fact, I'm almost glad that it had to be that we had to wait until now, because I think that as a band we do this album more justice now, and vice versa. I think that somehow this represents us better now than what we were 4 years ago, which is a very strange and peculiar thing. Like that would never happen, but I think this is a special case where it is true. You know, this is the case, and I think the album represents us very well. And you know, now whether it goes on to get thousands or millions of streams or whatever, or how many people will now then decide to come and check Trivax out, that's all good. That's really fantastic, and I'm humbled by that. And I'm already taken aback by the massive influx of new fans and listeners that are coming our way. I don't like the word fan, but you know what I'm saying. But you know, the most important thing before all of that is the fact that we're satisfied with the thing that we've created, and this is now going to be a part of our legacy forever. So I can't complain.
Fantastic. And any big plans for September 29th on the day of the release?
Good question. I'm probably gonna hit the gym, and then I'm probably gonna have a very normal day. I hope I'm probably gonna be traveling on that day. Um, yeah, it's as far as celebrations are concerned, we did already do the album launch show for LOA Burns Out at the Cosmic Void Festival in London. So that was a very special event for us, and we did get to celebrate it with everyone and everyone attending the show. We ended up holding a signing session after our performance, and tons of people came, and then we ended up exchanging lots of album copies and signatures and things like that with people, and it was really fantastic. So I feel like we already kind of had that level of celebration. Now, to be honest with you, I think I just want to spend time alone, knowing that it's out there, and just reflect. You know, that's what I want to do.
And in terms of touring, do you guys have any plans?
There are some plans down the pipeline, yeah, especially for 2024. There's currently one tour we're working on with the band who I'm very much fond of, but I won't be able to mention any details just yet about that. And we will be having certain visits to Europe once again. So very much looking forward to that as well. We've got some one-off appearances that have been arranged at the moment. So we're gonna try and go out as best as we can, really. You know, like wherever it's right, wherever we're welcome, or even some places where we're not welcome, we're gonna fucking go anyway. So we're gonna try and get Trivax out there as much as possible, and who knows, perhaps we might even visit India someday. I would absolutely love to visit your country someday. Absolutely. I know that you guys have this open air festival that seems to have just popped up out of nowhere, that Marduk have just played or are going to play.
I was there last week, yeah.
Okay, sure. So
yeah,
so perhaps fingers crossed at some point in the future, if the stars align, maybe Trivax will visit. Who knows?
Fantastic. Looking forward to see you here. Thank you.
Me too.
And would you like to talk about some of the highlight moments for the band?
Highlight moments for the band. Wow. You mean in the history of Trivax as a whole?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's a lot of those. You know, obviously just the fact that we're getting to release this album is a highlight in itself. But tell you what, I'll take you back in time, because this was a big highlight and a very defining moment for me personally, which was the very first live show that Trivax played. Which was an underground show in Iran, February of 2011, and then we played at this underground, like it was literally underground because it was like a basement area of a high school, but it's not your average high school. It's one where instead of A levels, it's more like B-Tech orientated, you know, which is basically means that they work more on, say, things like arts or mechanics and things like that, you know, that kind of high school, which are less popular, and generally in Iran's a very you know, like there's people can be real elitist and be quite discriminatory. So generally there's the perception that only the dumb kids go to those kind of schools, you know, which is not true obviously, but that's the general perception anyway. So obviously, with that being the sort of the social nature of those kind of schools, I guess we sort of found a little more room for them being lenient. So our drummer used to actually go there, and he was a member of the school, and he convinced them, saying that, oh, we'll throw this entertainment package for you guys, you know, and it was like on a special. The ironic thing was this was the anniversary for I think it's 22nd of Bahman, which is that's an anniversary for the Islamic. It's a part of the anniversary for the Islamic Revolution in Iran, which is extremely ironic that that's what we convinced them to do, you know. So obviously the school gave them the thumbs up, not knowing what the fuck we were gonna go in and do in there. So yeah, they let us go ahead with the performance, and then we went in there, and then we started playing a bunch of Metallica covers, and then in the middle we started out of nowhere started riffing on Mayhem's Funeral Fog, and then like all just started improvising and all kinds of crazy shit. We played for 40 minutes, and then about 40 minutes in, I see this giant smoke coming at me from the back of the room. At first, I thought it was the police, which we were expecting, right? We were expecting that to happen. Obviously, for anyone who's unaware, you know, playing metal in Iran can be extremely frowned upon. I'm sure most people are probably aware of this, but that can be quite a dangerous thing to do. And that was our first impression, is that, oh, this smoke is the police, they're breaking in, fuck, you know, that we're about to go. But anyhow, it turned out that it wasn't the police, it was the kids who basically set the back of the room on fire out of excitement, and they were just losing their minds, and we were losing our minds, to be fair. And then obviously they came, and then we evacuated the place. But that whole thing, and we managed to get away from it, you know, relatively safely as well. No one was hurt as far as I know, but it was just crazy, you know, like that, experiencing that and getting away from it safely, playing metal in a place where it's not allowed, and then almost coming close to thinking that I was going to like get arrested or even get killed as a 16-year-old, and then living from that changed me. That day, that changed me forever, because I've never been the same since. And obviously I've been through plenty of transformations in my life since then, but that is always a highlight in not just Trivax, but in my life that I've been through.
Thank you so much for sharing, Shayan. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And Shayan, finally, do you have any message for the fans around the world?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I guess it goes in line with the story that I've just shared, and it's that freedom is everything. It's not something that you ever want to compromise on, and it's not something that will just land on your doorstep free of charge either. It's something that we all have to fight for. We all have to do our fair share to gain it. Now, this can be freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of identity. It's a very important one that we oftentimes overlook. And and living in a world where, I think in the Western world in particular, we have access to all of those things almost, and it feels to me sometimes that that's slipping away. And I just want people, not just from the Western world, but from all over the world, to know how valuable that truly is, and its value is life and death, and if it comes to it, that should always be the appropriate response. So really, all I'm trying to say is, better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. And I thank everyone who's been listening and supporting the work of Trivax, you know, and I hope that you will all find that sense of empowerment within Eloah Burns Out and the rest of our work. And we hope to see you all down the road, and hopefully see you in India too.
Fantastic, Shayan. And Shayan, I want to thank you so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to talk on the upcoming album, Burns Out. And thank you again for giving this amazing metal awesomeness to the metal fraternity around the world, that whatever you are doing to this metal fraternity is really awesome. And you are giving an amazing music that we all can listen to and enjoy each and every moment that you have given us. So thank you so much for this awesomeness. And I'm really looking forward to meet you guys on the road real soon, and hope to see more awesomeness from Trivax. And thanks again, Shayan.
Hopefully so. Thank you very much for the interview, brother. Appreciate it.
Take care of yourself and have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.